Hi, I'm Carolyn Evans-Hammond and welcome to my tasting room. Carolyn's tasting room is where you can taste exciting wines with me. And this time we enjoy a flight of great finds under $16. So the wines include the 2022 Viña Tarapacá Reserva Sauvignon Blanc from the Casablanca Valley in Chile, the 2022 The Wolftrap White Blend from the Western Cape of South Africa, the 2019 Melini Chianti DOCG from Tuscany, Italy, and the non-vintage Smoky-based Shiraz from southeastern Australia. Let's taste. So the first wine in our flight is Chilean Sauvignon Blanc. Now Chile makes marvelous Sauvignon Blanc from the Casablanca Valley, and this bottle here is a testament to that. If you like Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, this is an alternative to that style because it's slightly more affordable and it's got that wonderful, full throttle fruit that's pure refreshment. So pour yourself a glass and let's taste it together. You'll notice in the glass it's shiny bright. That suggests stability. It's shiny bright and clear. It's got a lovely sort of medium straw hue, which is typical for the style. Give it a swirl and let's have a sniff. Oh, couldn't be anything other than Sauvignon Blanc. It's so, fragrant, aromatic, gooseberries, cut grass, or maybe snow pea, damp herbs. All of those are stereotypical scents that you'll find in Sauvignon Blanc. And they're very articulate here. They're very pure. They're very refreshing and lovely to, enjoy chilled down as an aperitif. So have a sip, and we're going to focus just as it sweeps in, and we're going to just experience the wine, and then we'll start parsing it apart technically. Isn't that lovely? It tastes shiny bright, beautifully balanced. Nothing is sticking out. It's not angular. It's not hot. It's just pure, glassy, glossy refreshment. Really a pleasure to drink. Now have another sip and we'll focus on the size of the palate to see how much our mouth waters. Very mouth-watering because it's high in acidity. Now Sauvignon Blanc is known for that high mouth-watering acidity, and it does two things. It makes it lovely to enjoy on its own, as a refresher, because it's also got the balance with the plump fruit in the middle, but it also cleanses the palate between bites, making it very food friendly. And the damp herb character we found in the nose being echoed on the palate leaves the palate seasoned and has a wonderful affinity to food. This is the kind of wine I would love to serve with those Vietnamese fresh spring rolls with lots of cilantro. So have another sip. This is 13% alcohol. Have a sip, see if you're noticing any heat at the back of the palate. We're going to detect whether it's out of balance. None. Are you getting any? I'm getting none. And that's because the alcohol is beautifully cloaked with plush fruit concentration. Love the balance here. I also love how it fans out with everything we found on the nose. You're getting the gooseberry, yes, but you're also getting that delicate herbaceousness. And on the finish, that snow pea is there, but there's also a hint of salinity. Now this is a bone-dry wine. There's no residual sugar. If you focus on the tip of the tongue, you'll immediately notice that there is no sweetness. And what that does is it makes it really fun to serve at the table because sugar can tire the palate a little bit, which is why, off-dry styles are so good sort of on their own. So this is a great expression of Sauvignon Blanc. Fabulous first wine to our flight of 4 finds. The next wine in our flight is the Wolftrap White. It's by Boekenhoefskloof, which is one of the most respected wineries in South Africa. Now, this is a big brand, but I think it over-delivers for their money. It too is Sauvignon Blanc, but it's a blend of Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, which is interesting because this is a 22 vintage. The 2021 vintage of this wine was actually a blend of Viognier, Chenin Blanc, and Grenache Blanc. So this is a different style, but I think it just sings. Let's see what you think. So pour yourself a glass. Immediately notice the color. The color is paler than the last wine. We do know that this is a lighter bodied wine, a leaner one than the last one, which was 13%. This one is actually 12% alcohol. Glancing at the label and seeing the alcohol level is important because you can immediately then know the weight of the wine. There's a direct association between the alcohol level and the weight of the wine. So this is a light bodied wine. In the glass, it's pale. Give it a swirl and let's sniff. Isn't that interesting? Yes, it's Sauvignon Blanc. You're getting that coy nuance of lime, green, you know, but those strokes of green are restrained and you're getting more than that. Give it a swirl and see if you can, you know, tease apart what you're smelling. Stay with me here because I'm getting lanolin, and that would be from the Semillon. That's a classic aroma of Semillon, as well as a sort of smoky, stony, salty fragrance. I like that. Now, Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon is a classic blend of Bordeaux. It's one of those styles that those in the know love. So I think you're going to appreciate this on the palate. So have a sip and let's just let it sweep in and see how we feel about the wine. Isn't that lovely? Beautiful. It's more restrained than the last wine. Its charm is slightly different. It's not as forward, not as fruity, not as, you know, immediately refreshing. It's a little bit more, I think, maybe gastronomical because of that restraint. It's a kind of wine that, you know, you can serve with a roasted pork tenderloin and it would taste quite, you know, almost serious. So have a sip again. What we're going to do is let it sweep in and then focus on the sides of the palate to see how the acidity is. When you do that, you notice the acidity is higher than you thought it was when you just sipped it. And that's because of the balance. Beautifully balanced wine. Yes, lots of mouth-watering acidity. Classic for Sauvignon Blanc. Now, Semillon has less acidity. It's a lower acidity wine, but it creates flesh. It creates a little bit of softness, roundness, sometimes waxiness, which on this, I think you might be able to pick up on the finish. I'm getting a waxy texture on the finish and a salinity, lovely. That's a Semillon coming through texturally, and the salinity is beautiful because it's leaving the palate seasoned. So have another sip. We'll focus on the tip of the tongue to see if it's dry or sweet. Bone dry wine, lovely, dry, excellent, beautifully balanced, light, lifted, mouth-watering, shiny, and it fans out with everything we found on the nose. And I think on the finish, it's not a long finish, but it's an interesting finish because you're getting that stony salinity and the waxy texture. I really like that. Have one more sip and let's see what it's speaking to us in terms of like the flavor profile. I love that. It's the green is there, but it is subtle. Damp herbs, a hint of thyme maybe. The salinity, yes. Smoky stones, yes. Maybe a little bit of olive on the finish. Beautiful. And the lanolin is there too with that waxy texture. An interesting wine for the money, and it's a kind of wine I'd absolutely want to add thyme to that pork tenderloin. And the third wine in our flight is a Chianti. Now this is a Chianti that I think is excellent value for money. It's under $16 and yet it tastes like it could sell for more. So pour yourself a glass and let's look at it. Now in the glass, it's clear, it's bright, it's got ruby inflections, which you'd expect because this is based on Sangiovese. It is the grape variety of Chianti. Now this is a DOCG, which is the highest quality standard in the the wine legal system in Italy, and that means it's made to very specific specifications. So it's got high quality standards, and you'll notice that, I think, in the glass. So on the nose, see, I love this. It smells so pure. Yes, the classic dusty cherry you get from Chianti, but also black raspberry, underbrush, and I'm getting pink peppercorn, green peppercorn, and a little bit of black peppercorn, as well as some olive. So lots going on, and I love that there's complexity on the nose. That's often echoed on the palate, and complexity is a mark of quality. So have a sip, and we're going to let it, sweep in and see how we feel about the wine. Isn't that lovely? Now, cheap Chianti can be terrible. This is not, and yet it's inexpensive, and I like that because what you get here is you get wonderful balance, you get enough stuffing, you get no angularity. It's a smooth sweep of soft velvety flavor, and I like that. It's the kind of wine that you can really enjoy at the table. It also will absolutely take up or, take up a notch any pizza night. So have a sip. We'll focus on the size of the palate. We know that Sangiovese is a high acid grape, but you do not notice that when you're just drinking it. So let's see if it is indeed, typically high acid. Focusing on the size of the palate, take a sip with me. Isn't that interesting? Absolutely high acid. Wonderful refreshment. Scrapes the palate clean. Does everything you want the acidity to do. Keeps the fruit lifted, keeps it pure, scrapes the palate clean, makes it food friendly, everything you want, mouth-watering, yes. But when you're drinking it, just drinking it, it's wonderfully balanced with nice, ripe fruit concentration, which is fantastic for a Chianti at this price. Have another sip. We're going to focus on the mid-palate and look at that fruit stuffing. Plush almost. Lovely. And yes, the fruit is articulate. Yes, you're getting the red berried goodness, and it's a very ripe tasting wine, which is nice because Tuscany is not, a hot region. It's a region that it can ripen fruit, but it's not, the south. So have another sip. We're going to see how that's fanning out and whether it is indeed echoing everything we found on the nose. Peppercorn, all of that red and pink and green peppercorn is there, as well as, of course, the fruit. The fruit is cherry, black raspberry, and the underbrush is coming through on the finish, as well as a little bit maybe of a hint of oak, a little bit of toastiness, a little bit of nut, just a whisper, and I like that. It means the that, the palate stays seasoned for whatever you're going to serve this with. It's a kind of wine I think you can be proud to pour at the table, and it will absolutely elevate your pizza night. And the last wine in our flight is a very inexpensive wine. This is a wine that only costs about, under $12 in Canada and less than $10 in the US. It's a non-vintage dated red, which means it's going to, provide consistency year in, year out. You know what you're getting. It's also an Australian Shiraz. An Australian Shiraz, this is an expression of Australian Shiraz that you can count on to taste textbook. So you're getting, well, you'll see in the glass in a moment, but choco berry goodness is what people want from Australian Shiraz, and I think this wine delivers it in spades and in a very consistent, clean, well-made, well-balanced way. So pour yourself a glass. In the glass, you'll notice a color, great depth of color, which suggests concentration. You're getting an almost opaque center, tapering to a purple rim. So it's It's a youthful wine. I think this is non-vintage, but it's probably 2020 or 2021. A swirl and a sniff. Chocolate, yes, sort of melting milk chocolate. Berries, cherries, black cherries, maybe poached in sugar. Plum, poached plum. Macerated blackberries. And a hint of maybe blueberry pie. The wild blueberry center and a little bit of the toasty crust. So enchanting, really, really easy to like. The kind of wine you can pour cocktail style or pour it with, barbecued ribs, sort of mopped with a savory, sweet barbecued sauce. Now this is a wine we know going in has a little bit of residual sugar, so it's going to create the roundness, the cocktail accessibility that you might like if you're going to pour it that way. So have a sip. Sweeps in, beautiful balance, great expression of fruit that's echoing everything we found on the nose. You're getting crushed blackberries, yes, but the chocolate is there, and it's sort of, there's a creamy texture, a roundness to this wine. It's ripe and full of fruit, and it's lush. Yes, there's a sweetness there, especially if you focus on the tip of the tongue. Let's try that. Yes, but it's so well balanced with mouth-watering acidity, ripe fruit, and the structure you get from the alcohol. It's not showing through, but it lends that structure to hem in the fruit. You're getting a wine, therefore, that's beautifully balanced. Now, this is a kind of wine that you can count on for barbecue season throughout the summer. I would serve it with grilled food for sure, because it's going to stand up to the grill marks. And you can indeed do those sweet and sour barbecue sauces and not worry about it interfering with the wine. The alcohol level on this is 13%, which is nice because it's not too high in alcohol. It's medium bodied, which keeps it, drinkable. A lot of wines that are very full-bodied and Shirazes from hot regions can be around 14 or 14.5% alcohol. Not the case here. This is a well-balanced, refreshing, easy drinking wine that's very affordable. So there you have it, 4 great finds under $16. Which wine did you like best? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'm coming right back with another flight of delicious wines here on Carolyn's Tasting Room, so you can drink better and learn how.